Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with cyclesgaming.com. I'm here with the wrap up for our 5 practice games or matches with my Sarkhan the Masterless and Lukka surprise deck. We've taken 2 janky builds and smashed them together to make a super janky build and are hopefully the stronger for it and the better for it. In our practice matches, we went 3-2. We took down Green White Life Gain Angels, Hammer Time, and a Rakdos Cookbook graveyard deck, although our opponent scooped pretty quick in that game, so it's hard to know if we would have won or not. I mean, we were set up nicely in that game, but the way those cookbook decks work, even the best board state can not win you the game and not win you the game very quickly. We lost our 2 losses were against Tron and 5-color control, so you could say that our losses came against probably the best decks we played against. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Overall, I think the deck is super janky, and honestly, Sarkhan made an appearance and impacted the game once in the Green White Angels deck, and so it's hard to get a good judge on how powerful that side of the deck is. And since we only run 2, we're unlikely to draw more, so it might be worth trying to find room for a third to see just how powerful that strategy can be. It did win us the game that he made an appearance in. Otherwise, we barely ever draw him. We barely ever drew him. Lukka, meanwhile, did his thing a lot, and a lot of our wins came on the back of getting an Emrakul out using Lukka's -2. And so in some ways, this deck felt like just a Jund Lukka Coppercoat Outcast surprise deck, where we splash for black so that we have more early game removal to deal with our opponent's board state in the hopes that they just can't answer a resolved Emrakul. Rather than going all in on giving it haste, we just want to be able to interact with our opponent, trust that a resolved Emrakul they'll scoop to that because they won't have a main deck answer or even sideboard answer. So that was my first impression, just that it felt more like a Lukka Jund deck. I'm not sure what to do about that, to be honest. I mean, the Sarkhan the Masterless plan is nice to have. It's only 2 cards in the deck. Liliana the Veil and Karn the Great Creator are both just solid, good cards on their own. They don't need to have Sarkhan to turn them into 4/4 dragons to win us a game. They can. Liliana, obviously, Ultimate's great. Just being able to stabilize the board is great. Karn won us several games just by getting a Wormcoil engine. Our other hate pieces from our sideboard, sometimes just shutting down strategies like Hammer Time. Splashing Black felt really powerful. Having Fatal Push and Thoughtseize, obviously really some of the best cards in the format when it comes to interaction. I think it made a huge difference in keeping us in games. It did cut back on the consistency of finding the Lukka, since we have to just draw naturally. But if we're not drawing the Lukka, we would draw the Karn, for instance. So that at least when we won. When we lost, if we weren't drawing the Lukka, we were drawing Hierarchs back to back to back, or lands back to back to back. Or like in one of our games, we drew the Emrakul the turn before we could cast the Lukka that was in our hand. That was really awkward, and that was before we had Liliana the Veil in our deck. Against against Tron and 5-color control, Tron, it was almost laughable how unlucky we got. We've beaten Tron before with the resolved Emrakul. We were in the position to resolve a Lukka and get the Emrakul into play. In one of our games, we just could not hit the land. And then I think in the other, I can't remember now, I think the first game we lost, we had the Lukka but couldn't draw the lands. The second game we lost, we had again the Lukka without drawing the lands. I feel like I'm mixing it up. Either we maybe didn't have the Lukka but needed to draw the Lukka to win in one game. Either way, you can watch the video. I played it a few days ago. So we really saw the weaknesses of the deck in the sense that if you just don't have the card you need, your combo piece, then you're left doing not much against decks that can really go powerful fast. In Green-White, we saw the drawing the Emrakul was bad, but then we got to see both the Lukka win and the Sarkhan the Masterless win. Hammer Time, I think our opponent might have been new to the deck and made what seemed to me some questionable plays. Not that I've ever done that. I mean, I misplay quite a bit. We all do. That's part of learning. And it was not the traditional build of Hammer Time. It wasn't the most, I guess, efficient or speediest. So that we were able to get that win. And then again, like Rakdos, they scooped. But 5-color control, really tough matchup for us, as I talk about in the video. Opponent just kind of did their thing game one. I think they said they had a bad hand in game two. They scooped to resolve Karn, the Great Creator. I mean, who knows if we would have gotten there. But then game three, it was really fun. Managed to play around the counter magic, navigate the board in a way that got us the Lukka out, got us the Emrakul out. Then opponent found the Supreme Verdict. We managed to get another Emrakul out, and then opponent found another Supreme Verdict, and then took over the game from there. So shout out to that opponent. He was, I think, I can't remember the name, something Steve. Very nice, very friendly. We chatted a little bit. And stuck it, didn't quit on me like I asked. I was in the free play, so I was able to get the full video in. And very nice, friendly opponent. It's a pleasure to play against them. So thanks for that. The sideboard, I don't know. I mean, I never did bring in the Noxious Gear Hulk. It seems like it'd be better against the Izzet Murktide deck, and so therefore maybe you shouldn't take it out. Laid Out in the Void is a necessary evil against graveyard strategies. Force of Vigor, great against Affinity, Hammer Time. Sometimes Amulet Titan. Our sideboard plan, I mean, here, it's a Silver Bullet type sideboard. Elixir, good against Mill, and a little bit of the life gain against Burn. Not sure it's enough, though, against Burn. They're so fast. They can do so much damage. Pithy Needle, obviously, shut down what ails us. Same with Liquid Metal Coating gives us another win condition. Void Mirror against Cascade decks. Wormcoil Engine is probably what was the thing we got the most, and it gives us another way of winning outside of our main deck. So it allows us to play creatures without having to water down our Lukka Coppercoat Outcast combo. So that's a really powerful angle of attack, and did win us many games. Tormund's Crypt I talk about in the video with 5-color control. I put that in over Relic of Progenitus because when you need graveyard hate, you really need graveyard hate, and you can't just cast Karn, tap out to cast Karn, get Relic, and hope that you get untap and put the Relic down and blow up the graveyard. So if you get the Karn down, you want to have a target for a graveyard hate target that's 0 mana that you can cast the exact same turn and blow up the graveyard that way. Engineer's Explosives, good against token strategies and other things. So anyway, I'm happy enough with the sideboard. There's obviously some flexibility there. Noxious Gearhulk might be the oddest, but it is tutorable with Karn, gives us some removal, life gain, another threat. Anyway, so that's Sarkhan the Masterless, Lukka Surprise. I'm going to keep playing with the deck, tweaking it maybe. I'll run it through a league at some point. I have a feeling that our record will be far worse. Practice games, we're 3-2. About what I expect. I mean, we execute our game plan. We play against jankier decks. People are still learning. You get into a league, you play against the top decks in the format that have lots of answers. And you're probably going to maybe go 2-3, but you never know. So I'll run through a league, post a video at some other point, but for now, I'll put up the practice games. And if you want to see more of this type of thing, hit me up in the comments or email me at johnnycycles16@gmail.com. So for now, this is Johnny Cycles with cyclesgaming.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.